Westworld Season 3 is going to be bonkers. There's going to be new settings. There's going to be differences with characters doing different things than we thought from before.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about what we expect to come. When we got to the post-credits scene, which is William.
Right. Which I was practically yelling at the screen, because he's my favorite character, during the credits going, what happened to William? And then luckily they told me what happened to him. Sort of.
Okay, so that's a guest host William, right?
That is definitely a robot host
I don't know
William, for
how
sure.
far in the future, though.
That looks super far, because did you notice? So, yeah, we don't know if is that a host Emily or is that real Emily? And outside of the little circular room, it looked screwed up. It looked like a barren wasteland.
So it looked like they were where the man in black left off before Bernard and Dolores left him to go into the forge. And then he goes into there, finally. So I think what happened was, because we saw him later on the beach, at the ending of the season, and they're like, oh, we got him. He seemed to be alive.
Right, yeah.
I think what we're going to in the future...
Did he have his fingers then?
The injury seemed different.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I got to go back
similar
and look
but
at that.
different. What I think they're doing there is a fidelity test that they've done many times for William with a host version of Emily. I do think that's a host Emily because, one, of the logistics of time, and two, I think he killed his real daughter.
Yeah, I think he did too. Or at least they want us to think he did.
So based on where we left, where we had Logan as the system, explaining the spot in Mr. Delos's memories that never changed, no matter how many different tries they made, which is where he kind of abandoned Logan, and he regretted it, but he always did it every time. So my thought is that the man in black, William, he shoots his daughter every time. And that's his point. And now he's on the other side of this.
Okay. I didn't think about that. That's cool.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah,
and that
makes sense.
Because they can't, those, guest host hybrids, they can't exist outside the park. So maybe they've been testing him in the park and testing him in the park over and over and over. Maybe they'll get to a part where he works, but they haven't yet.
What I noticed, something that Dolores said, was that as humans, we reject immortality. And that made me think that it was never going to work. But maybe, like what she did with Bernard, took her 11,000 tries to make a
Bernard who can survive.
Right, who technically was, and maybe that's why they changed his name too, because he wasn't really Albert.
Arnold,
rather, sorry.
I always thought that too, because I was like, A, B, maybe the next one will be Caleb.
Right,
it'll just keep going on.
And so in order for humans to survive forever in host bodies, we need to be altered versions of ourselves. If we try to just make ourselves exactly the same, we'll always reject it.
Like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Life finds a way.
I mean, you could try. It hasn't worked yet, but we're trying. So what looks like we're going to be going to is a lot more of the real world. I think there will be some parts that are actually the park, because Maeve has to come back. They very clearly hinted at that with, hey, you two idiots, can you fix the ones that seem fine? And they're like, okay.
I love how those guys survived. Are they like the Laurel and Hardy of the show? I mean,
They're always gonna live and be fine. I really like Felix, so I hope so. Sylvester's a jerk. They're both cats.
Yeah.
So I think what we're gonna see is more usage of the Charlotte Hale host. I think Dolores is going to use her influence and power and money in ways, because I think she hates Delos. She hates humanity, but she also really hates Delos. I think she's going to try and pull apart this park from the inside with this high-ranking executive under her power.
I'd like to see Maeve make an entire host army and take it all into the real world and just cause havoc.
See, the thing is, I don't know what Maeve's gonna do now because her goal was to get to her daughter and like
let her go.
try and find her own place, but she sent her daughter basically to host heaven. And so what is her motivation now? What does she want?
Guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I mean, when we're going into the future, somebody is in charge of William's fidelity tests or host William's fidelity tests. So there's probably, you know, I think that's in the far, far future, as Lisa Joy said in an interview.
Right.
So we'll see.
She said that's the farthest future, so we're not
we'll
going to
probably
start
be in the
there.
time before then.
Yeah.
For the most part. But I wonder who's in charge of Delos now and if their mission is still the same to kind of extend human life in a way or steal data.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to that point where we find out what became of Delos. I don't know what far, far future means. 10 years? 100 years?
Well, and also all of the 4 million humans whose identities they stole and whose brains they basically stole, were those some of the later version hosts? Did they infuse that back into the hosts?
We definitely could. I mean, that seems like a way that could work.
Yeah.
We could definitely try that. I mean, we have so many ideas of what could happen with Westworld. Unfortunately, we won't see what season 3 for a while.
And they're not even going to start filming for a year, right?
You loved the video. You will subscribe. You thought I was cool and charming.